Super Tuesday starts now on The Answer with Jennifer Horn, David Hernandez, and Jeffy Gergenti.
Thanks for joining us. It is election night 2024 Super Tuesday. Super exciting for us here in California. I'm Jennifer Horn. I host the Morning Answer right here on AM870, AM590. The Answer. I hope you'll join us tomorrow. Wall-to-wall coverage of all of the election results from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And so pleased to be in studio once again. This is like our new tradition. David Hernandez is here. He is the host of the Los Angeles Hispanic Republican Club radio show, 9 p.m. here on AM870. The Answer on Saturday evenings. Jeffy Gergenti is here from a brand new show. Jeffy said what? At 8 p.m. on Saturdays on AM870. Jeffy, David, happy Super Tuesday.
Happy Super Tuesday, Jennifer. We're going to roll out some carpet tonight, I tell you.
Let's do it.
Here we are again. And this is really exciting. Like Jeffy was a candidate before. I've been a candidate a number of times. So this particular night, for individuals that have been candidates, they really, they have an idea of what they're going through. And so there's a lot of good people really watching what's going to happen in the next couple of hours. So, and AM870 and Salem has really been on the front line of supporting conservative candidates here in California.
We try. And I want to remind all of you that we are going to have updates for you every 15 minutes. The polls are open until 8 o'clock tonight here in California. So if you're hearing our voice and you have not voted yet, what are you waiting for? Get out there. Voting centers are open. If you can't, at least find your mail-in ballot, stick it in an election drop box tonight. Make sure it is signed and sealed. And I think you can even drop it at the post office.
But you have to make sure two things. One, is it registered correctly?
We're going to jump into that because I've been hearing some things, Jeffy. You just had an experience, but I do want to tell you, vote until 8 o'clock tonight and then tune in because every 15 minutes here on The Answer, we're going to have election results delivered from our news department. So that's going to happen starting at 8 p.m. tonight. Make sure you're here for that. Now, I heard today, I came in studio and I was contacted by a few listeners to this very program that registered Republicans were being given no party preference ballots. But Jeffy, you had an even crazier situation, and you did a video about it that's now going viral.
Yeah, so I've been homesick. I was out of town, as you know. I was filming The Blocks, and so I never checked my ballots. So today I got them out and I went to fill them out. It wasn't too hard to fill them out because we already know the candidates we're voting for. And I decided to open both ballots. I'm like, why did I get two ballots? Well, on the front of them, one is made out in my maiden name. The other one's made out in my married name. Now, just to give someone perspective, I got divorced in 2004.
Just a while ago.
Just about 20 years ago, right?
It's just an oversight.
But when I ran for office in 2020 and 2024, I only got one ballot in my married name. So there was no reason why I would have gotten two ballots. So I open them up. One of them is registered American Independent because that's what I was before I met David and ran for office. And the other one was registered Republican. So I decided I'm going to go down and vote in person, which I like to do. And I want to show them my ballots. So they look at my ballots. It turns out I'm not even in the system. They can't find me for 40 minutes. They cannot find me in the system.
Wow.
Okay. Then there's a city council race, District 4, that's on my American Independent ballot, but it's not on my Republican ballot, and it's a non-designated race. So everybody needs to check their ballots and find out what's on and what's not. And what you really need to do is, if you can, you keep your ballots and just have them do a provisional ballot. So I had to do a provisional ballot, which allowed me to keep both my ballots, made them invalid. David and I are going to take a drive down to the county recorder's office on Monday and bring it in person, because this is one of the problems that we're having with no voter ID. If you don't have voter ID, then there's no way for them to clean up the ballots because they don't know that they think I'm two different people.
Well, and also I think, and David, you can speak to this too, and we're going to hear the video that you have as well, Jeffy, but the registrar's office doesn't do a great job. The Secretary of State in California does not do a great job of cleaning up voter rolls. Now, there was a lawsuit that went through that dumped some bad names off of the voter rolls in LA County, but with this mail-in scam, you can have 15 ballots go to someone.
Absolutely, because people were registered as William, they were registered as Bill, and that lawsuit, that was when Alex Padilla was the Secretary of State. And unfortunately, so the election integrity won the lawsuit. Who's going to enforce it? Rob Bonta, the Attorney General. And so the fact is, my daughter, Lisa, she got a ballot. She opened and did the same thing. She's getting ready to go vote. She looked at it and it said Democrat. She's like, wait a minute. I'm voting for Trump. I'm not a Democrat. She called the Register Recorder's office, and they did some checking. They said, oh, well, yeah, I guess you are registered Republican. We just sent you the wrong ballot. So, well, when she took her son, the same thing happened to him. He was registered. The ballot was for a Democrat. They went down there. They checked the system. He was in there, but as a Democrat. So he registered right there and voted Republican.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that going on. And unfortunately, we have a system that the only way to enforce it or clean it up is, it's still in the hands of the people that are actually
the Democrats running the state.
Well, and the thing is, David, you brought up a really good point, and that is, if you notice that you are not registered correctly, you can, at the time, if you go down between now and 8 o'clock, go walk into your voting poll, you can say, I am not correctly registered. Right. Please change my registration, and they can do it right then and there, and you can vote for your designated registration, which we hope is Republican.
I would say, also, don't leave the polling place until you get the ballot that you are registered for, because we've had some callers into the program who said, well, I didn't know what to do. I just voted anyway. Don't leave until you get the answers that you need. And if you do have problems, I think it's really important to make sure you fill out reports with the California GOP and also with the Election Integrity Project here in California. I know you guys are going to go see the registrar, and I would love to be there for that. Make sure you're videoing.
We're going to have to video that one too.
Yeah, video that. All right, so speaking of videos, you put this video out. It is going viral right now as we speak, and your social media handle is Jeffy said what?
Yes,
what,
it
right?
is.
So take a listen. You can follow her on Instagram. This is the video from earlier today.
Okay, so I'm in my car. I'm getting ready to vote. And what do you think I have? 2 ballots. One is a Republican and one's an independent. I was sent both of them. One's in my maiden name and one's in my married name. So this is what's going on today, everybody. They're sending out 2 ballots. And you know what? They don't know the difference between me as my maiden name and me as my married name. Why? Because we don't have voter ID. So if you don't think it's important for voter ID, these are things that we need to work on. Get out and vote. If you have 2 ballots, vote the ballot that you want to vote, whether it's Republican, Independent, or Democrat. Take the other one and turn it in. Then make a phone call to the county reporter and let him know that you got 2 ballots. I spoke to a friend of mine and he got 4 ballots for people that used to live in his house. 4 different people, and then 2, one for him and one for his wife. So this is the problem in California. We need voter ID.
Amen to that. We sure do. And well done. I'm glad that's getting attention.
I also want to give
media.
credit to another company. So I tagged a bunch of people in it. One of them is California for Dummies on Instagram. They have 25,000 followers. They picked that up within a minute, and it has gone viral on their channel. And as of airtime, they'd already had, I think, 12,000 views on it in an hour. So that's another great account to follow. So if you're in California, start following. Just hit California Insider, California for Dummies. There's the LA County People for Los Angeles.
Street People of Los Angeles.
Yes.
They're great too.
There's some great accounts out there so you can find out what's going on, because chances are you're not alone.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So if you are having problems and you are at a polling place, stick it out. If not, you can always use those resources. And that's why it's important. A lot of conservatives say, we don't really feel great about having social media, but this is where social media matters.
But that's what we've been hearing. We heard the same thing in 2018, in 2016. Oh, don't mail it in. Wait till the very last day. And this is what happens. And so you get there, you get frustrated. I mean, this morning when you were talking with Grant, you were talking about the voter turnout in LA County is like less than 13%.
It's 11%.
Yeah.
11%.
That's appalling. This is what I say to people when I'll be anywhere and I'm very vocal, and they'll say, I don't like what's going on in California. I don't like the taxes. And I go, well, when's the last time you voted?
Yeah.
Oh, I vote all the time. I said, well, then I guess you better look at what you're voting for. Mm-hmm. If you just say I'm a registered A, B, or C, and you're only voting A, B, and C, you better start looking at your candidates, because on my show, I've had some Democratic candidates because I just really think they're a better place for that.
Yeah.
For that
and
job.
Some Democrats are the way to go.
Yeah. And some of them are, and some of them aren't. And we've got some great Republican candidates. Mm-hmm. But when you look at who you think is going to be best suited for the job, or who's going to have the most name recognition and the ability to win that position and make changes, those things are super important.
Yeah. 11% voter turnout in San Bernardino County, in Los Angeles County, 16% in Orange County. But this isn't enough. This is where the apathy comes in and kills us. So if you are hearing our voices today, get out there. Even if you waited till the
Just
very
get off your
last
couch.
day,
Just
get
go.
over there. You can do it. Find your mail-in ballot at the very least and fill that puppy out. Find an election drop box, those dreaded drop boxes. And polls close at 8 o'clock, so you still have some time. Guys, we have full election results, though, coming in. Some of the states on the East Coast, those polls have closed. We've got some information in this presidential primary. Will President Trump be able to all but close it up tonight? Biden, the same. We'll have those results for you. Big thank you to Don Monroe and family, C&M Metals, the big sponsors of this broadcast. David Hernandez, Jeffy Gergenti, Jennifer Horn. We are coming back. It is election night, Super Tuesday, here on The Answer. Today, it seems we're facing one crisis after another. Crime, the economy, the Middle East, freedom of speech, and the elections are heating up. Jennifer Horn here, inviting you to join me in Grant Stinchfield at the AM870 Conservative Summit, Sunday, April 7th in Ontario. We'll be joined by your favorite talkers like Charlie Kirk.
They are allowing our country to be invaded on a daily basis. The illegals, drugs, fentanyl. They're admitting we can close the entire border, but open borders is the prime directive of modern American politics.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka.
Liberalism, wherever it takes hold, is ruining America, but it doesn't have to be the same in Southern California.
Along with Larry Elder, Officer Tatum, and a leadership panel of local experts. Our VIP lunch starts at 11 a.m. with Charlie Kirk, and the main event begins at 1 p.m. Don't miss the AM870 Conservative Summit, Sunday, April 7th at Doubletree Hotel, Ontario. Get your VIP tickets now at am870.info. That's am870.info.
It's really a mistake to think that the Jewish people in total or in mass rejected Jesus.
That's Pastor Alan Jackson, who will be joined by talk show host Dennis Prager at this year's Ask a Jew, Ask a Christian, Tuesday, March 12th.
The issue is the Trinity and Jesus is being regarded as God or Son of God. That was the dividing line.
Ask a Jew, Ask a Christian, March 12th at Shepherd Church in Porter Ranch. Similarities, differences. What do Jews think about Jesus? Why do Christians love Israel?
The people Jesus recruited to take his message into all the world were Jewish. Without the Jewish people, there'd be no Messiah. We owe them a thank you.
It's Christians overwhelmingly who have brought the Torah to the world, more than Jews have.
That's March 12th at Shepherd Church in Porter Ranch. Get your tickets to Ask a Jew, Ask a Christian by logging on to kkla.com keyword ask. That's kkla.com keyword ask. kkla.com keyword ask.
Tuesday. It's super important. Welcome to The Answer's Election Night coverage with Jennifer Horn, David Hernandez, and Jeffy Gergenti.
Thank you for joining us here on The Answer's special Super Tuesday election night coverage. I'm Jennifer Horn from The Morning Answer. Joining me today, David Hernandez, the host of the LA Hispanic Republican Club radio show. Jeffy Gergenti is here. Jeffy said, what? And you can tune in this Saturday. They're the perfect block. Jeffy starts at 8, David at 9. Make sure you hang out here on The Answer on the weekends. Now, tonight, guys, polls have closed on the East Coast. If you are still listening to us in your car, you've got till 8 o'clock in California to turn out to vote. The delegates required to clinch the GOP nomination is 1215. Now, we'll give you an updated count because some new numbers are coming in. The delegates at stake tonight, 865. So President Trump and President Biden can get very close to that number. At this moment, as polls close in some of these states, Trump and Biden picking up their first wins, both of them projected to win their respective primaries in Virginia and in North Carolina. Virginia is an interesting one. It's an open primary. Democrats can vote for Republican candidates. So it's interesting to see how many of those Democrats jumped into the primary and voted for Nikki Haley, who people are wondering when she's going to get out, David Hernandez.
Well, I think, she's respecting the process, and we had this conversation before. We're a republic. We're not a democracy. And as a republic, we pick our leaders through a process and give and take, exchange of information. There's a part of that process is debating. Nikki Haley participated in the debate with all those other candidates for president, and President Trump decided he was not going to participate. Now, we were listening this morning. How come Eric Early and Christina Pagalucci were not allowed to participate in the debates? So we can't have it both ways. We can't complain when our candidates aren't allowed to debate. And
I do think it's a little different, though, because Pascoci and Early wanted to debate, and they were told they couldn't, where President Trump could. He just made the choice not to.
Yeah, but part of the condition of participating in the debates is that you were going to have to support the nominee.
Sign the pledge.
And so he was not willing to do that.
Well, now Nikki Haley has come out and said she's not going to honor the pledge that she actually signed.
Okay, so here we go.
Yeah.
And I was just going to say that. So, they can sign whatever they want to, but you're not obligated to follow through with it.
That's right. It's not like a binding contract.
And who's talking about it?
Right.
Who's talking about it? No one's talking about it.
This girl.
So, exactly.
We are.
Exactly. We're talking about it. But national news isn't picking up the fact that, and it's a perfect opportunity to smash another Republican if they wanted to. Oh, there you go. She's already stepping back on her word. It doesn't matter whether they would go after her or not because she's irrelevant.
Right.
I mean, I hate to say it, but she's irrelevant because she's not going to get anywhere near beating Trump for a primary.
And here's where we are at this moment. So up to the minute delegate count, Trump is at 288, Haley's at 43. Now, after tonight, 865 delegates. She'll get a few of them, I think, probably in
She'll be lucky if she
Vermont,
breaks
Virginia.
100. Come on.
But I doubt that she's going to get
She's not
over
gonna break
100,
100.
actually, in total. So here's what we can tell you so far in some of these states that are already starting to announce their counts. In Alabama, Trump is up 77 over Nikki Haley's 16%. You've got in the Maine primary, Donald Trump at 71 over Nikki Haley's 26%. So you're seeing very consistent kind of this split. In North Carolina, Trump already projected to win there 74% to 23%. In Oklahoma, Trump 77 to Nikki Haley's 19%. In Tennessee, 78 to 18. Very consistent numbers. What's interesting in these states. Virginia, where Trump has already been projected, 66% of the vote to Trump, 31% to Nikki Haley. That's the factor where Democrats matter.
Right.
You can see she breaks out of that 20% because Virginia's an open primary. It's conceivable she had Democrat support in that state.
Well, every Republican that's running tonight, especially the ones that are going to go forward here in California, they want Democrats to vote for them. So Democrats voting for Republicans is not necessarily a bad thing. Now, in the case that we have with Adam Schiff trying to, promote Steve Garvey as, ultra MAGA.
Oh, that's so worked against him.
Yeah.
That is so worked against him.
And the same thing with Katie Porter trying to get Eric Early in there. They want to pick their opponents.
Please call her Open Border Porter because that's her name.
Open Border Porter. I love it. Oh, my gosh.
All right,
that's so
Vermont
right on.
also starting to count, and this one's a little closer. So here's your state to watch. If you are a Nikki Haley fan and you're hoping she can do something. 49% to Donald Trump, 46% to Nikki Haley. So that's her closest one right now. They're separated by 1,000 votes, if you can believe this. The numbers just updated. 8,500 votes for Donald Trump, 8,342 for Nikki Haley.
And which state was that?
That's little teeny tiny Vermont.
Vermont.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that Bernie Sanders?
Yeah, that's why. Pretty
The land of
well
Bernie
stated.
Sanders.
There you go.
That's
There
why I
you
say
go.
watch if you're wondering where Nikki Haley's going to get some action tonight. It's going to be Vermont. It might be Virginia.
It's
That's
not going to
where
be
it's gonna come.
California.
It is not, because California, and let's talk about that, because this is exciting. California is usually not part of Super Tuesday in March, although I
Right.
read, guys, that Super Tuesday was actually in June originally, when California and New Jersey would close it up, and they would call that Super Tuesday. It was the end, but now we call Super Tuesday sort of the beginning of the cycle. California, it would have been much more exciting if this were still competitive, but clearly we kind of see the writing on the wall. Donald Trump's doing really well in California, and this time, if you get more than 50% of the votes, you get all the delegates, and we
Right.
have a huge load of delegates.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's one factor in this race that we have not seen in any other, or that I can recall, presidential races, and that's the Supreme Court and the criminal charges against Donald Trump. If he does not get presidential immunity, if that's not the ruling coming out of the Supreme Court, then he could not make it. There is a possibility that he cannot make it to the November ballot.
Are you hoping about that?
No,
David?
but I'm just being
I was
realistic.
wondering myself, Jennifer. I'm glad you
I'm
asked.
just being realistic.
Can I see if you're wearing a Haley 2024 president under that
We know
shirt?
listen, we know we took a picture with Haley. It could be possible.
Look, she's a lovely lady. I'm saying there's a future for her, but I don't know, David. I don't know.
No, I just, some of those people, they probably were looking in the short term. It's like, okay, I'm going to drop out. I'm going to endorse Trump. Maybe I'll get a cabinet position. I mean, all these different people that were bad mouthing him while they were running, all of a sudden they're showing up on
But
stage
you know
with
what?
him.
Let's talk about that for a second, because the last time we were all together on air, we talked about who was going to drop out when and where.
Yeah.
I did not really think Haley would be the last one standing against Trump.
I didn't either.
I did not think she'd be the last one. I really
Yeah.
didn't.
I
I wasn't sure who it was going to be, but I didn't think it would be her.
I think we all thought DeSantis was going to be a much stronger force in this primary.
He's a great governor.
He's a great
He's
governor.
a governor, period.
But he doesn't have the it factor that you need on that presidential stage. And I would say, as much as I hate to say it, because I love uplifting women, but I don't know that Nikki Haley has the it factor either.
No.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Now, we can talk about vice presidential picks and when we're going to get that. I do want you to know, however, that there's also Democrat primaries going on. And we will tell you that Biden so far has 275 delegates. Big surprise. Dean Phillips has a goose egg. Marianne Williamson, newly back in the race after she just dropped out. She's actually my favorite Democrat candidate. 0 points for her as well, 0 delegates. So he is just kind of cruising, and tonight I'm sure we'll see him get very close, just like President
Now,
Trump.
we won't see Robert F. Kennedy until November?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we won't see RFK until
how is
November.
it that he was not on? And well, on my American Independent ballot, he was not on there.
Because he doesn't have to run a primary. He's already
Oh, is that why?
already part of the general election. So this is where things are going to get interesting, because you've actually got a 5 candidate race, and I think 6. So there's some news that broke today that maybe it was missed in the shuffle of elections. But in November, you're going to have, at this point, we think, President Trump. You're going to have President Biden. You're going to have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. You've got Cornel West, and you've got Jill Stein. You'll also have a million other candidates on the ballot, but those will be your 5. And in head-to-head matchups between, well, not head-to-head, in heads-to-heads, in 5 matchups, in 5-way matchups, President Trump actually does better with Kennedy in the race. But today, the news, Kyrsten Sinema, who's a senator from Arizona, she was running in the Senate race as an independent, has
that's right.
decided
Yeah.
she's dropping out. And the rumor is that this No Labels party that has tried to get on ballots across the country, and they've been pretty successful,
She's heading it up.
she could be the candidate.
Wow.
Now, that would be an interesting thing. I don't think she has the ability to go the stretch.
Doesn't matter. She's breaking down a door.
Who does exactly, and who does she steal votes from? Probably Biden at that point.
Let's hope.
Yeah. So remember, it was supposed to be Joe Manchin. He's out. Now maybe Kyrsten Sinema. That's a great day for Carrie Lake, by the way, who is probably on track now with that departure to be the next senator in Arizona in the fall. All right. We have a lot more election night coverage. We're going to go local now. We're going to drill down into some of these local races that you are voting on. Proposition 1, the Senate race, local races in LA
The road
County.
diets? No.
HLA.
We have a lot to talk about. All right. Thank you for joining us. David Hernandez is here. Jeffy Gergenti. I'm Jennifer Horn. More election night coverage on The Answer continues. It seems we're facing one crisis after another. Crime, the economy, the Middle East, freedom of speech, and the elections are heating up. Jennifer Horn here, inviting you to join me in Grand Stinchfield at the AM870 Conservative Summit, Sunday, April 7th in Ontario. We'll be joined by your favorite talkers like Charlie Kirk.
They are allowing our country to be invaded on a daily basis. The illegals, drugs, fentanyl. They're admitting we can close the entire border. But open borders is the prime directive of modern American politics.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka.
Liberalism, wherever it takes hold, is ruining America, but it doesn't have to be the same in Southern California.
Along with Larry Elder, Officer Tatum, and a leadership panel of local experts. Our VIP lunch starts at 11 a.m. with Charlie Kirk, and the main event begins at 1 p.m. Don't miss the AM870 Conservative Summit, Sunday, April 7th at Doubletree Hotel, Ontario. Get your VIP tickets now at am870.info. That's am870.info.
It's really a mistake to think that the Jewish people in total or in mass rejected Jesus.
That's Pastor Alan Jackson, who will be joined by talk show host Dennis Prager at this year's Ask a Jew, Ask a Christian, Tuesday, March 12th.
The issue is the Trinity and Jesus' being regarded as God or Son of God. That was the dividing line.
Ask a Jew, Ask a Christian, March 12th at Shepherd Church in Porter Ranch. Similarities, differences. What do Jews think about Jesus? Why do Christians love Israel?
The people Jesus recruited to take his message into all the world were Jewish. Without the Jewish people, there'd be no Messiah. We owe them a thank you.
It's Christians overwhelmingly who have brought the Torah to the world, more than Jews have.
That's March 12th at Shepherd Church in Porter Ranch. Get your tickets to Ask a Jew, Ask a Christian by logging on to kkla.com keyword ask. That's kkla.com keyword ask. kkla.com keyword ask.
You found The Answers Super Tuesday election night coverage. Here are Jennifer Horn, David Hernandez and Jeffy Gergenti.
Thank you for joining us. It is Super Tuesday here on The Answer, our election night coverage. We're back together again. We're like the fearsome threesome, which does not rhyme at all. But you know what? That's all right.
Not bad.
I'm Jennifer Horn. I host the Morning Answer alongside Grant Stinchfield. Join us tomorrow morning for complete coverage starting at 6 a.m. David Hernandez is here. He is the host of the Los Angeles Hispanic Republican Club radio show, 9 p.m. on AM870 Saturdays. Jeffy Gergenti is here. Jeffy said, "What is the newest show we have on our Answer lineup?" That starts at 8 o'clock. I can only say it that way. I'm sorry. It's just too fun.
It's funny because everyone says that. John McKinney came on my show and he goes, Jeffy said, "What?"
She
didn't just say that. And that's all he says now.
Yeah.
He just texts me. Jeffy said, "What?"
All right. So, okay, you brought up John McKinney. So let's jump in because we've got local races. We want to get to Prop 1, the Senate race. A lot of congressional races out there, but typically nothing too catastrophic, I think. We're going to see people moving into November when we talk about these big congressional races. But the LA County District Attorney's race, I contend, is the most important thing that LA County voters are going to vote on. I've been saying this over and over again. I hope people are hearing it because LA can't sustain another 4 years of George Gascon. It just cannot happen. And tonight you have 11 people trying to unseat him. Gascon makes 12. It's a municipal election, so that means if some candidate is lucky enough, if we're lucky enough for someone to get 50% plus one, Gascon is gone tonight. If not, the top two candidates move on to the general election in November.
Gascon cannot be one of the top two.
He can't be. And unfortunately, people look for brand names in this county. And he's the one that probably has the most name recognition of all the candidates. And that's unfortunate.
Well, but that's, that isn't necessarily a bad thing given the fact that there's a lot of negative
He's got a 24% approval rating. So I will say that's the best thing going into tonight.
Let's just hope those voting for him realize it's 24%.
Yeah.
So, David, what do you think about this race?
Because it's a nonpartisan race, I mean, all of the issues that most of the other candidates are running on, the crime, the smash and grab, the no cash bail, all of the different things that they're running to correct impacts everyone, regardless of your political affiliation.
Yeah.
And so I think that there are a lot of people, a lot of Democrats. I mean, the LA County, majority Democrats, but the quality of life issues that they've had to suffer through, he's the face of that. As when the author of Prop 47 that has given us all of these problems, I think his days are numbered. So I would really, best thing in the morning is to hear you say that two other people are going forward to November and he is gone, and that's the way to go, especially since we had so many in that failed recall of him. You still had all those people sign those signatures. So those people are out there. So all of those people that signed that petition to recall him, guess what? You get to vote on somebody else. And we're looking at John McKinney. We're looking at Deborah Archuleta. We're looking at the only Republican is David Milton. And so there are some great choices there. And so if the people who signed that petition come out and vote tonight or have voted, we can get rid of him tonight.
Yeah, and that would be nice. Now, the sad thing is, Jeffy, we probably won't know about the outcome of this for the next 3 weeks. And that's the sad part of LA politics. But hopefully we'll have an idea of where this race is headed. But the vote counting is going to go on for a while.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. We can come out with everyone that showed up and they've got the electronic votes. We're going to know who they could say, hey, it's going to be McKinney and Hatami. And we're going to be like, yay, that's great, blah, blah, blah. In 3 weeks, we're going to say, we made a mistake. It's going to be, Gascon and some other guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like we really don't know. But I'm hoping that, what I want to say is this, is that David and I had the good fortune of being able to go to a couple of live debates with the 12 candidates that were running for the LA County DA's office. And I want to give kudos to every single one that put their hat in the ring, because we do have a huge plethora of good candidates.
They're good people. Most of them are good people.
Yeah, they're good people. They've got their heart in the right place. A lot of them are sitting DDAs, which are great. But The problem is there's too many.
Yeah.
And so now they've done them all. They've all done themselves a disservice, and that now you're going to have too many to choose from, and we could end up with Gascon again just for that fact alone.
Yeah, this is a part of the conversation that I've been having as well with a lot of people who are in this business, who are in the radio business. Do we need to get behind one candidate to try to help get Gascon out? Because is it so many candidates that there's the possibility that he can survive? Because I don't know if you guys have heard this, but the breaking news is that his DNA results have come back and he is part cockroach, so he can survive nuclear attack. Just kidding, all right? So,
That's a good one.
All right.
But even if he survives tonight and has to go to November, with the exception, I think, of two people, Sherminsky, and there was another that fella in that blue suit that was running. No.
Oh, which one?
No, Eric Siddal.
He's okay.
Believe me,
Yeah, he's not bad.
Yeah, he
not
was
a bad
good.
guy.
But who was ever going to be
Oh, I
going
know who you're
forward?
talking about. They,
Yeah.
they had some obnoxious guy. I'm like, I don't even know why he's running. And then he would give some horrible speech and he'd go, Hatami. It was kind of like he was running to give his. We couldn't figure that one
it
out.
was
But
just
other than
a
those
character.
two, yeah.
But anyone else going forward is going to get the support from those other voters that supported
Yeah.
that. So I think his days are numbered, regardless of what happens tonight.
well, we'll see, and that's one to watch for sure. I think we also have to mention, because he is a friend of all of ours here, and he's been on your programs respectively. He's been on the Morning Answer every single week. But former LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva is also on the ballot tonight. He's running against Janice Hahn, the dreaded Janice Hahn, who has her family name all over buildings in Los Angeles. These brand names are hard to beat, but yet they still provide disappointing results.
She's employed her own family. She's got her daughter and her son and daughter-in-law.
Making a total of over $500,000 a year between the two of them.
Here's the thing about Alex. I had him on the show last Saturday night, and one of the things I brought up about him and that he does not talk about is, I'm about to shock probably the general population that are listening to the show, is that he has a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and a doctorate.
He's incredibly
and I'm like,
smart.
why are we not calling you Dr. Villanueva?
Yeah.
And he's so humble. This was his response. He said, because I believe that people see doctor as medical, and I'm not a medical doctor, I'm a research doctor. And he said, and it's an academic doctorate, and that's why I don't go by Dr. Villanueva.
So I can't ask him for a prescription.
No. But I mean, that just talks to how humble he is, but how highly intelligent he is. He's got, I believe his master's is in economics or something. I mean, he was able to run the sheriff's department so well. I think we're going to see a lot of people that are going to vote for him against Janice Hahn because they now see the mistake they made in not keeping him a sheriff, because we see what Luna's done.
Yeah.
Luna has been a nightmare.
He's been vacant. I mean, I don't know. He's not out there. With Villanueva,
and
you
Biden.
saw him.
Yeah.
And with Luna, he's just sort of hiding in his office.
He's
and
a Luna tuna.
He's a Luna tuna.
A Luna tuna.
That we can't catch. That's for sure.
Well, Jen, I think, and the really high-profile race that's really going to be important because of that recording between Neri Martinez and Gil Cedillo and Kevin DeLeon.
The recording heard round the world.
The recording heard round the world. Well, Kevin DeLeon is on the ballot for City Council District 14.
Vote him out.
Speaking of being part cockroach.
Which is with there. And so the other two main opponents that the media is pushing is Miguel Santiago, who's an assembly member who's voted for all of the bills stripping parental rights, placing our kids in danger, or Wendy Correa, who just had a DUI and crashed into cars.
It's fine if you're an elected official, I think.
But there are some good candidates in that race. Jenny Guerrero, we had her on the show. She's a member of CPAB. She's really involved in the community. So, Lincoln Heights, downtown LA, El Sereno, Eagle Rock, we cannot let Kevin DeLeon hold on to that seat. I know Grant kind of likes him because he refuses to resign.
Because he's got a backbone, and he punched out a guy wearing a Santa, while he was wearing a Santa hat. So
all the more reason why we definitely don't need him in office. I mean, come on, Grant.
I will say one nice thing about Kevin DeLeon. He is the only high-profile Democrat that has ever showed up here to do an interview with me, and that is the truth.
Well, you know what? He wants to keep his job.
And he was running against Dianne Feinstein for Senate. He came in and he just sat down and he answered some really tough questions. And so I will give him credit for that. The guy does not fear people. You can see that in the way he carries himself, but that doesn't mean he's a great city councilman for Los Angeles.
Well, and then look at, and thank God for the LA Times.
Yeah.
Because they have exposed the Latino political machine well, not only in the Northeast San Fernando Valley, but all over the county. And so when we look at, in the Congressional District 29, where Tony Cardenas is not running for re-election, and they have Luz Rivas is now switching from Assembly over there. You have Benny Bernal, who is challenging that, and the LA Times has really come out. It looked like a mafia flowchart of
For the
all,
Hispanic
where
community.
everyone is connected.
It is interesting to see. All right. So we have a lot more to talk about. We've got polls closing in Arkansas. We'll give you a quick rundown on where those primary votes stand right now. Some of the polls on the East Coast are closing. You, however, if you are listening to us in California, have until 8 o'clock tonight to cast your vote. So do it, please. If you're hearing our voice, don't just go home. We know you're tired. Take the 5 minutes it takes to go out and cast your vote. Now, when we come back, let's talk about the Senate race here in California and, of course, Proposition 1. Those are some big ones for all of the counties to consider. This is election night coverage on The Answer. David Hernandez, Jeffy Gergenti, Jennifer Horn together once again. Thanks for joining us. It is Super Tuesday on The Answer. It seems we're facing one crisis after another. Crime, the economy, the Middle East, freedom of speech, and the elections are heating up. Jennifer Horn here, inviting you to join me in Grant Stinchfield at the AM870 Conservative Summit, Sunday, April 7th in Ontario. We'll be joined by your favorite talkers like Charlie Kirk.
They are allowing our country to be invaded on a daily basis. The illegals, drugs, fentanyl. They're admitting we can close the entire border, but open borders is the prime directive of modern American politics.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka.
Liberalism, wherever it takes hold, is ruining America, but it doesn't have to be the same in Southern California.
Along with Larry Elder, Officer Tatum, and a leadership panel of local experts. Our VIP lunch starts at 11 a.m. with Charlie Kirk, and the main event begins at 1 p.m. Don't miss the AM870 Conservative Summit, Sunday, April 7th at Doubletree Hotel, Ontario. Get your VIP tickets now at am870.info. That's am870.info.
It's really a mistake to think that the Jewish people in total or in mass rejected Jesus.
That's Pastor Alan Jackson, who will be joined by talk show host Dennis Prager at this year's Ask a Jew, Ask a Christian, Tuesday, March 12th.
The issue is the Trinity and Jesus is being regarded as God or Son of God. That was the dividing line.
Ask a Jew, Ask a Christian, March 12th at Shepherd Church in Porter Ranch. Similarities, differences. What do Jews think about Jesus? Why do Christians love Israel?
The people Jesus recruited to take his message into all the world were Jewish. Without the Jewish people, there'd be no Messiah. We owe them a thank you.
It's Christians overwhelmingly who have brought the Torah to the world, more than Jews have.
That's March 12th at Shepherd Church in Porter Ranch. Get your tickets to Ask a Jew, Ask a Christian by logging on to kkla.com, keyword ask. That's kkla.com, keyword ask. kkla.com, keyword ask.
found The Answer's Super Tuesday election night coverage. Here are Jennifer Horn, David Hernandez, and Jeffy Gergenti.
Here we are together again for another election night. I always love doing this with you guys. I'm Jennifer Horn, host of The Morning Answer alongside Grant Stinchfield. We will have complete coverage for you on election results starting at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. David Hernandez is here, host of the Los Angeles Hispanic Republican Club radio show, 9 o'clock on AM870 Saturdays. And Jeffy Gergenti, Jeffy says, what? That's 8 o'clock on AM870 on Saturday. A big special thank you to Don Monroe and CNN Metals for making our broadcast possible tonight. And Jeffy, you had a great piece of advice. Just to remind people, you have until 8 o'clock to vote. If you're in line at 8, stay there. But if you don't have your ballot, don't sweat it.
Yeah, if you don't have your ballot, if you're registered, and if you've registered in time, you had up until, I think, 2 weeks ago to get your registration in. If you can't find your ballot, if you're running late, you can't get home before 8 o'clock, just go to, California says you can go to any poll. It doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah.
And it's all electronic. So you can walk in, give them your name. They're not going to ask for your driver's license. It's not legal. We need to change that, but whatever. Go in, give them your name, and they'll pull you up, and you'll still be able to vote. You'll be voting with a provisional ballot.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Don't worry about it. But vote. Your vote counts. The fact we only have 11% of LA County voting is disgusting. You want change, but we're not getting change if you're sitting at home going, it's not that important.
Yeah, or my vote doesn't count.
Or my vote,
if you think it doesn't count, it really doesn't count when you don't show up. So
well,
get
it
out
counts
there.
for the other side.
Yeah. All right. So let me give you a little rundown because polls have closed in Vermont, Virginia, North Carolina, Alabama, Maine, Massachusetts, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Arkansas. So still the West Coast is going to be chiming in. Colorado, Minnesota, Texas, California, Utah will close later tonight. Biden is projected to win in Iowa, Vermont, Virginia, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Maine, and Massachusetts. Trump has been projected the winner in Virginia, North Carolina, Oklahoma, and Tennessee in the Republican primaries. That brings Trump's delegate count to 411. Nikki Haley has 46. These are CNN's numbers. Biden on the Democrat side, 558. Uncommitted has 2. Vermont is close tonight. Trump is winning in Vermont, but by 1 vote. So for people who think it doesn't matter, it does.
Vote counts.
It does. And and Trump is also right now trailing Nikki Haley in Massachusetts. So a couple of interesting ones to watch. We'll see what happens.
Well, can you imagine if the Democratic Party would have played fair with Kennedy and he would have been a Democrat? Because we're hearing, Biden is winning all these states. Yeah, well, against who? Marianne Williamson?
I know. Hey.
And had they had they played fair with Kennedy, he would have remained a Democrat, and he would be leading all of those states. So that's just exactly why they didn't want to include him in the process, because they didn't want to lose tonight.
But no matter what, they're going to have to face him, and they'll face him in a general, and it might even be more damaging to them at that point.
Oh, I think it's going to be way more damaging, because just imagine if the Democrat voter thinks that their options are only Biden and Biden, they're going to vote Biden. But when it comes down to the general election and we get every candidate on that ballot, Democrats are going to be able to cross the lines and vote a Trump ticket. They might be able to vote a Kennedy ticket.
That's it. And
you know what? At that point, the country's going to see whether or not Biden really was their choice. And
if he's still on the ballot.
If he's still on the ballot, well,
Michelle Obama came out today and said it's not her. She's not running for president. So we can put that one to rest for another 4 years.
Yeah, she says that. I'm not buying it.
So we've got a few more minutes left here in the hour, and want to make sure we get a chance to talk about the Senate race and Proposition 1. So let's start with the Senate race. I've just been feeling my feels about this one because I don't like ever to see Republican voters be used as pawns. Adam Schiff has spent $20 million promoting Garvey. Katie Porter has spent a lot of money promoting Eric Early. $65 million in total have been spent on the Senate race for the primary. That's insanity. David, we'll start with you. What do you think about tonight?
And they probably see that as money well spent because Schiff does not want to face Katie Porter. Barbara Lee, she doesn't have. She's really, even though she's been included in the debates, I mean, her polling numbers are really low. So the best way for Schiff to insulate himself from having to face Porter is to promote somebody who he knows he can beat. And it's funny because I listened to her criticizing him, and her ads are right after him, and she's doing the same thing with our friend Eric Early.
Yeah, she was mad that Adam Schiff has been promoting Steve Garvey, but she's got Eric Early ads running all over the place, Jeffy.
So she's, I know. I'm like, listen. Here's the thing. We're so used to bashing people. I don't have a clue what half these people are running for. What is your platform?
Barbara Lee, $50 an hour minimum wage, open border Porter, and Adam Schiff, whatever benefits him.
I have secret evidence, secret files of Russian collusion.
But you know what I mean? It's like, what do you want to change? And I think this is one of the things that we have in politics is you've got $65 million of I'm going to poke a stick at you. And you know what? You poke that stick at him, and now you know him.
Right.
So who are you going to vote for? They're giving you free name recognition. Garvey already has name recognition. We all know who he is. And they're saying, oh, he's too conservative for California. Well, for all those people that love the crime and love all the stuff that's going on, they're not going to think he's too conservative.
Right. So what you're saying, because I think it's just important to kind of tell people our hearts, if you guys are comfortable with it, vote for Steve Garvey. Is that what you're doing
I'm
tonight?
saying I'm going Steve Garvey all the way.
I voted for Eric Early because in the end, without a viable infrastructure in place in California,
doesn't matter.
Adam Schiff's going to be the senator.
Of course.
Right.
They've coronated him.
But the key is without an infrastructure. So, about 4 months ago, I was elected as regional vice chair. So now I laugh because when I heard you and Grant talking about the California Republican Party, it's like, well, I'm part of that board.
Yeah, but not everybody is part of that.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to really say. And I don't think it's all Jessica Patterson who runs it, by the way. It's not all her.
No.
It's the people
But the
around.
fact is, and so what happens tomorrow, because also on the ballot tonight are Central Committee members for Los Angeles County. And so if there's more than 7, they're on the ballot. If there's 7 or less, they're not on the ballot, but they're going to be there. So we're going to have a whole new set of individuals stepping up. And so my job is to make sure that we spend the next 8 months training, educating, mobilizing, and supplying the LA County Republican Party with the tools in order to bring a win home for these candidates. Because without it, I don't care how good the candidate is, they don't stand a chance.
Amen to that. And we have to do better, and we have to play by the Democrats' rules, even though that doesn't feel great. All right, Proposition 1, also on the ballot. Gavin Newsom has really gotten behind this. The polls seem to be tightening now as we move later into election season. I'm a no vote on this. I'm sure you guys are probably no votes as well. This is another way to take more money and throw it at a problem that is never going to get fixed, throwing money at it.
But we've already thrown the money at it.
Yeah, exactly right.
I got so many phone calls. What do I do with Measure 1? Vote no. Why would I vote no? And I go, because we've already spent that money. HHH, and all the other propositions, which I'm sure, David, you could name them off on 2 hands. We have already given money for mental illness. We've already given money for that, and all they've done is throw it away. So what are we going to do? We're going to take some more tax dollars. Our tax rate right now is 10.25%. What are we going to make it? 11%? 12%? What are we going to do so that you can give these people more money to flush down the toilet so they can buy more tents and more sleeping bags and not change the fact that we have a mental crisis on the streets of Los Angeles? Let's take what the money is that we already have allocated and actually do something with it.
You should run for office.
I think so.
David, what about Prop 1?
Proposition 1, just look at their track record. We talk about, we have a drought, we have no infrastructure. Well, the California voters already passed a $9 billion water infrastructure bill. Did they build one dam or one reservoir? No.
Not one damn dam.
When we first heard that our prisons were overcrowded and it was inhumane, they passed a bond for prisons.
Yeah.
Did they build more prisons? No. So no matter what, they passed a bond for transportation. What did they do? They diverted it to high-speed rail. You can trust them to do exactly what they have been doing all along.
Which is
absolutely
nothing.
Vote no.
Guys, thank you so much. David Hernandez, thank you. Jeffy Gergenti, thank you. LA Hispanic Republican Club radio show, 9 p.m. on AM870. Jeffy said, what? 8 o'clock on AM870. Thank you to Don Monroe, C&M Metals, for sponsoring us tonight. We have Updates for you every 15 minutes from our newsroom. Election results will start coming in California. Vote. Polls are open until 8. Get out there, guys. And, of course, complete coverage on tomorrow's edition of The Morning Answer, 6 to 9 a.m. I'll be alongside Grant Stinchfield with that. Jeffy, David, thank you so much.
Yep. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And thank you all for joining us. Get out and vote. It is The Answer's special Super Tuesday election night coverage here on The Answer.